kill this music and load this in. PCE came in line and in line, in line. Everything was in line. So you're probably going to go up on that news, actually, probably pretty decently. So the fact that PCE came in line leads to the fact that you'll probably cut rates more. And so you might start seeing some of these names actually move, and you might see the bond market drop. Yep. You might see them buy bonds on this. So everything came in line. Let me just make sure the music's off. It is. Cool. Everything came in line, and we'll go take a look at it like super quick. So you can see it. I'll just use Financial Juice. I have them up, so we'll just use that. Sorry, that's a lot of me in the morning. Ooh, there we go. And I'll just use this one super quickly. But you can see right here, core PCE was 2.9. Consumer spending was actually higher than expected, so they're spending more money. PCE forecast actual 2.7. Actual, please go away. Let's go there. Forecast 0.2, 0.3. So you're right in line with expectations, which is exactly what you're trying to do. Let's fix that. And let's get off of this and then go from there. The news rocked you, it looks like. So that's a good thing. And it's definitely a good thing. So I think that's important to understand it. But, you know, personal spending came in higher than expected too. And they bought the indexes and they sold the dollar. So it's exactly really what you want to see. From my perspective, it's certainly what you'd want to see from an investment perspective. Let's get to this back and get back to it. See what's going on out there, what you crazy kids are doing. Let's go back and take a look at the ES, but that is very bullish stuff. So that's really what we needed. And we are oversold now. I'm hoping for like the double dip. I'll show you it, but we got oversold. And, as always, this stuff, happens when people are not trading. But I never really understood why it gives me this stupid after hours look. Let's go back to this one. Like it gives me like an after hours market for the ES when there is no after hours market. Super interesting that OKLO is not doing any kind of secondary, isn't it? So we're getting back down to this level again where, Itchy said good afternoon. And then when he got off stage, this happens. And it ties directly into that level right here, which is our CPI. So that's that CPI data, and it takes you right to it. I mean, it's not, again, it's kind of crazy how like exacting that area was. I'm not going to highlight it, but that's really what you were looking for. If you look at the RSI, I mean, we worked it off, and that's what we got out of it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely an area of interest. I would like to see some kind of double tap on it. I don't know that I'm going to get what I want out of it. That might be it. Sometimes you don't get the divergences. You just get, no, we're down. And now it's time to get back involved. And that's really what we were waiting for, to stay out of the way until this figured out. You see, like if you get these dips like this, that's really where you want to get involved in your trades, right? Not up here. And I might sit around and wait for a divergence, and it might be like me waiting for Giselle to call. It might just never happen. So, it's a pickle. Let's leave it at that. But I definitely think it's something that you need to pay attention to. So you got your oversold. I'd really like to see the other side of that. But I don't know, man. I don't know what we're going to. That might just be the end of her right there. And that might be it, which then means we're going back to the highs, which is really what I think is going to happen anyway. I actually think it's really good data. So it makes me happy. It's pretty much what you want to say. And it probably means my, I don't know why my silver trade's going up, but or my gold trade's going up. I don't know why I got silver on the brain. If I ever tell you what to do with silver, run away screaming. I literally can't. I don't think I've ever traded anything worse. I trade silver. But I'm surprised gold's going up. It's interesting. What else is interesting? Some moron came out and downgraded IREN, JP Morgan. He had a $19 target price on it. And then he put a $24 price target on it. Some people just don't really understand math, and it is what it is. So I'll take advantage of that today. It probably gap fills pretty quickly, actually. Sometimes I actually, if I put on my tinfoil hat, sometimes I think these guys do that just to get their clients, in these names. Sometimes I do think that, and they might be doing that here as well, but it doesn't really matter one way or another. That's really the level we'd want to watch and just see if you get up to there. And if you stay down here, that's fine too. We'll just buy more. But I thought that was super interesting because of the way it's acting. And you got some other stuff out here that I thought was really neat. Let me show you this. And then the OKLO I find fascinating because why aren't they doing a secondary, right? And there's only the only real reason to not do it is not also because you need money, but you don't want to be dilutive. And I think that's there. So we'll see. And we'll go from there. Oh, it might be that. You might be right. I don't know. All right. Give me 1 second. So let's take a look at this. Also, Intel. You guys really think Intel is going to be, making Apple chips, right? Okay. All right. Let me know how that goes. I think that this is probably the biggest graft out there right now. So we'll see how this goes, and then let's see how this lifts, and then we'll kind of go from there. I think this is super interesting to me. I have people that are in the room, they're killing it with it. And I'm like the old man yelling at the cloud. We are in this. I'll show you guys this. This is the only US owned, US operated foundry out there. We're in a lot cheaper than this, but you might want to look this up. So you might want to pay attention to this name. They're the only one out there that is US owned, US operated. Now, GFS will move on this as well, but GFS has a higher nanometer of chip, and they're also 79% owned by UAE. Not that, Trump cares, but they're not US owned. They're UAE owned by 79%. So this is it. This is what you have right here. If you want to buy a US owned, US operated foundry, you have one. This one. So do what you want with that. If you think that that's where this is going. What else is interesting? Oh, the guy with the lime green pants said this is going to 800. So you'll get all the hoople heads in there, and they'll go nuts for it today. Again, I've watched enough of these cycles to understand how this goes. They ramp us up with all these hopes and dreams of, flying cars and juicers and, AI robots. And, again, I think right now there's a couple cars that are zooming around Austin that are like, okay. I mean, I get it, but I just don't see it that way. So, but we'll see what happens with it. He usually overpromises and underdelivers, but that's pretty much the MO. It's the showmanship of it all, right? So, we'll see what happens here. I mean, obviously the guy's a freaking genius, going to Mars and things, but it's the same thing. It's always like, oh no, this is going to happen. It's going to happen in 2 weeks. And then it happens in, 2 years. But I think that's how he gets where he's going. He just keeps trying to collapse time. And from a marketing standpoint, it's brilliant, but I just don't see it. From trading today at the levels, I would just be super careful. If I got up to that 435, I'll be foaming at the mouth to probably short it, to be quite honest with you. Like anything up in here, I literally would be foaming at the mouth. So very excited if that happens today. I don't know why people would be so, giddy to get into this right now. There's a lot of reasons to, in my opinion, to avoid it. They're going after him again. They put him on TV and made it look like they were going to do something with him just to knock him back down again. And I think that was done on purpose. That's my belief on that. I really do believe that they're that petty that they would put him out there to say, "Oh, look, yeah, we're definitely going to do this with him," and then do absolutely unequivocally nothing. And we've seen them do that before. So I don't think that that's really a stretch. I think the most interesting thing for us is to understand that you got a clear shot at 435, and then when you get up to that 435 range, that's really where the metal meets the road, like up here, like 100%. I'm just looking at the options market too. And you should be able to get up there pretty quickly. So you have a clean shot to it. And just go through something else and just look at something else too, why I got you guys, because I know you guys are always asking me about this one. But once you get through that, I don't know. I think 430 might be a little bit of issues with what you have there, but I think you're going to get through it and get up to that 435. And that's really where I would look and saying, okay, maybe I need to look at shorting it up that way. But that's up to everybody what they want to do there. You should do what you're comfortable with. I know some people that'll never, ever, ever want to short that. Let's go to the NQ very quickly and look at that. So why did we stop there? I'm glad you asked. If we go and take a look at the NQ, we'll see that is the peak VWAP. And sometimes I'll just put a peak VWAP there just to see where all the players are and see how they act at key levels. And lo and behold, they stop dead right there. So again, I think that's, pretty interesting. I have a lot of levels here. I'm not going to get rid of them. If we look at this on the 4 hour again, to me, you're now oversold again and you're starting to lift higher. And that happened yesterday. I really like these double dips, but I don't always get what I want. Sometimes I do, and sometimes it just goes higher, right? So, understand that. And if I'm to look at this is really where I want to be more focused on, building versus going out there and getting out of names now. So we're gonna have to watch these levels pretty carefully today. I personally was worried about news. I don't think I have to really worry about that as much today. If we go and take a look at the, SPY, we're not bonding. There we are, we're bonding. If we go take a look at the SPY here, let's just see something here, see if we got anything new that's really important. Yeah, I don't really see anything. I mean, you got that 665 level. I don't know that you're getting up there, and 650 is really the rub from what I can see. Let's see something here. I can find anything else of interest. Yeah, I think that you have some stuff there that might hold you. But you can push here. So I'd watch this. I don't know. I don't know that you don't have a shot here. You might be able to get up to here. You got some work to do, but you might be able to get up there. So you might want to watch this today. Usually when everybody thinks we're going to roll over is when we don't roll over. But again, we always want to watch these key levels, and that should be marked off the same way. Let's mark that off and say, I think that's higher, isn't it? So let's just mark that off. Yep. So you're stopping right there again. So the average person that's been in since the peak, they're having a little bit of a tiss, this morning. And you're a little overbought. So do you really want to be rushing into this? Probably not. You probably want to be looking for the dips and then getting involved. I think that's more prudent than anything else. So that's really how I see it this morning. But I don't know that we have to, really rush into this. You probably want to see if this kind of comes back down and then kind of go from there. What else was super interesting out there? The drug thing. They're smoking these companies on the fact that they want them to make drugs here. I don't foresee that happening at all. They'll put a pause on that because they're going to open up like a warehouse somewhere and pretend that they're going to do something when they're not. And then he'll say, "Oh, look what they did," and then we'll give them a pass because they're putting something there, but they're not going to do anything. So I'm trying to think what else was out there today. The demand thing's just stupid. Like, oh, you have to make one chip here for every chip you make overseas. Like, okay, yeah, sure, you can do that in a weekend. It's just dumb at this point. I don't think anyone's even really buying it anymore. When you see the market come in like that, I find it kind of interesting because I really truly don't think people are buying that nonsense anymore, and it's starting to like have very very little effect, in my opinion, on the names. What's up, John? It's actually just becoming people are just buying the dips because nobody really believes what the administration's saying anymore. So I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, but I mean, I just think it's pretty obvious at this point. It's pretty obvious for the street. Yeah, I really like how you came down, undercut, and stopped everybody out, and then formed that piercing pattern. I also think it's super interesting, John, that you're right there on the 12, 22, and the 55. You undercut it all and then closed above it all. I thought that was really pretty fascinating stuff from a trading perspective. If I was to look at this, you've been neutral the whole time. So, yeah, I mean, it does make sense. That might hold. You may hold here. So, definitely of interest. And what else do we have? Yeah, Intel, I know a lot of people are going crazy for it. Go for it. I'm going to be on the other side of that trade. I think today's my day, actually, to really start looking at shorting it. So I'm sure there'll be some news coming out there about Apple doing something, and that might be the end of it, when Apple gives them money. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think it's cheaper for Apple just to pay them, which is what Nvidia seems to have done. I thought when that news hit on them that they were actually going to partner with them, but that was not the case at all. Or they were going to use them to create foundries in this country, but that was not the case, obviously. Yeah, so I think that you just really want to watch this. Give me 1 second. Let me just see something else while I have you. On the Intel. See if I can add any more value here. So, yeah, I mean, the 35 level is definitely an area of interest. I'm not really sure that you're just going to blow through that up here. So I'd watch that pretty closely. It's definitely an area that I'd be paying attention to. I'm just not sure that that's going to you're just going to blow through that or not. What's up, Julian? Went over Tesla. The LEU is fascinating to me because they clearly made their decision about which name they want to buy. And I don't know that that's just going to stop. I don't know that it is. I'm fascinated by it because, man, oh man, when you look at that volume yesterday that they went in, and they're expanding. They're definitely expanding, and I'm sure someone's going to come out and downgrade them. But I look at yesterday, like, my God, that's the one they wanted to be in yesterday, hands down. They could not get in that fast enough on that dip. So when you see that kind of thing, that's the great thing about these little pullbacks. They tell you exactly, what names they want to be in. So out of all the uranium names, that was the one that they could not get in that fast enough. They really could not get in that fast enough. So when you see something like that, it's pretty interesting. To me, it is anyway. So it's probably up here somewhere. And let me just check one more thing while I got you guys. Yeah, I mean, it depends if they want to keep going again, but the measured move is like 330 on this. So, I mean, it's definitely there. So, I mean, I don't know, man. You're not even getting any kind of pullback. And someone upgraded this to 140 today, which I thought was fascinating. And they're not doing that secondary at all. Like they're just not. So, I don't know. They would be the uranium names I'd really watch today. I find this fascinating that this didn't fall down more and that they haven't done a secondary yet. Even when it dropped down, they didn't do the secondary. LAC, I think the admin might go out there and take a position in companies because, why not? But I really think there's some stuff here where, we have to look at this and go, I always look at this stuff like this, like, what do we know that everybody else doesn't know? Right. And everybody knows that this company's probably going to get an investment. So what do we really know here that everybody else doesn't know? And I don't think it's a lot. Good morning from Canada. Good morning from Miami. GTLS. Chart Industries, is that it? Am I looking at the right name? Is there a different name? GTLS. I don't know, man. It looks to me like the thing was bought or something, right? Or is that just earnings? I don't think so, my friend. Let's go take a look. I love when we can do stuff together. Yeah, they're getting bought. I mean, if this is the company, maybe you're giving me the wrong symbol or I'm looking it up wrong, but they were bought for 210 in cash. So, it looks like there's $210 in cash there. I don't know. It's kind of interesting because you're not trading at that cash level. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong symbol. Let me know. Crowd, I think both of those are super interesting. The Crowd with their new product is fascinating, but I haven't really gotten that signal yet. I will say this. All these names that are doing these kinds of pullbacks, they're all doing the same exact thing. They're all coming to these levels and then they're turning. So what you might want to do with them is just wait for the turn bar and then get involved and just see if it turns. And then if it does, cool. And then if it breaks out the low, you just get stopped out of it. But I think that's where it's going. That's where all these names are going. They work that off and then they turn, right? Oh, good. This thing's going to be today. So I don't know. Watch that, but I don't know that I'm there yet. It's taking its sweet time. So maybe I have to gap fill. That's super interesting name to me, but I really like the news. And I don't know that I'm going to break 475, 470. I don't know. I don't know that it's really going to break this area. I think you might actually hold that area. So let me see something. Give me a moment. I don't know, man. I think you might hold 470. So it's definitely on my radar. It's certainly something I'd watch. SSRM silver, right? So, I mean, all it does is just grind higher. I had this on one of my scans at like $13. I'm like, I think that's the noise I made too. Like, All it's done is gone higher. That's literally all it's done. It's just been a monster trade for you guys. I mean, I can't even break the 12-day moving average. It's crazy. So you see this stuff breaking out through these levels, and it's never looked back. Like you literally never had to do anything with it, like ever, except just sit with it. And it just keeps grinding. Looks really good. I mean, really good. Like very orderly still. Morning from San Jose. Good morning from Miami. What's up, Jacob? Happy Friday. I don't think there's much to say here, man. Like, I mean, to me, gold was a no-brainer. Like, it was just such an easy trade. But do they do drones too? If they're in the drone business, I'd be very interested in it. The way that these names are acting, it's all about that drone life right now. So I don't see a real reason why that's going to change. Let's take a look at what this thing's doing. I don't see a reason that's going to change. Good morning from Eindhoven, the Netherlands. Good morning from Miami. Yeah, Apple, they were talking about this today where there's the lines for the store in Osaka are like huge. So it's killing me. I bought it here on the earnings call because I'm like, man, people aren't getting this. And then when I traded up in here, it started rolling over. I just blew it out, made like 30 points, and I was happy. But I never would have held through this. I wouldn't have held through this anyway. There's a couple things here I never would have held through. I never would have held through that negative divergence. I would have wound up blowing it out up in here somewhere. And I certainly wouldn't have held through this little nightmare. But I never got back in either. So that's always the rub with this stuff. Always the rub. Bull, if you closed the way I think you were supposed to yesterday, I think you finally did it, right? Didn't you do it yesterday? Yeah, you finally did. So yesterday you finally closed over your 55-day moving average on pretty above average volume. I tried this like back here, and then they did a secondary like the day I bought it. I think it was like that Wednesday or Thursday I got involved. I'm like, the only thing that's going to hurt me is the secondary. And then they literally did, I think that was at July. Wait a minute here. Pardon me. Yeah, that was it. It's back here. I'm like, oh, the only thing that's going to hurt me is the secondary. And then like right into July 4th, they did a secondary. And that made me sad. I like what it's doing. I don't know, man. I have no try. I'm not going to own this thing over the weekend because they're probably going to do a secondary. But I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like the IRN this morning. I have my, tinfoil hat on that they're probably doing it to knock the stock down to get their people in. They tend to do that. They pretend that they don't, but they tend to do that. Happy Friday. What's up, Tariq? Yeah, I don't know. Those numbers are pretty perfect, aren't they? Yeah, there's a lot of information in there. I don't think people get it. They think it's about like just me saying things. It's far from it. How do you set up those lines? There's actually programs in here that people have created, but it's not some big secret. I mean, here's the numbers. You can just shoot them yourself. 130. This should be open, high, low, close. I got to change it on this one screen. It's 178, 130, 208 is what it is on a 15. But there's also programs like if you go in here, so people will go like daily SMA on intraday chart. There'll be stuff like that, daily moving averages on intraday chart. There'll be stuff like that that people have already created. I haven't played with some of this stuff in a while, but like you'll see it, you can't miss it. And then you can go in and play with like that stuff, right? And go from there. Like there's all kinds of stuff on here that people have already created. So, and, you know, it might be easier to do that if you want to play around with them and change them. But that's what I use or how I do it. No, it was like, that's what I'm saying. Like people just don't even have a clue, right? Intel's fallen pretty darn far, pretty fast. So, no, I'm not from Boston. Do I look like I'm from Boston? Do I sound like I'm from Boston? Starlink phones? Are they coming out with Starlink phones? I might actually buy Starlink. People have it. They love it. The people that have Starlink absolutely love it. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Okay. 9:02. John, you got to tell me what time it is. What time is it? What time is it, John? Yeah, I know a lot of people keep looking at this Amazon, and I keep looking at it too. I mean, it looks awful. Like a lot of people were like, yesterday, I was shocked how many people were looking at this thing, telling me how great it looked. I'm like, every single day since September 17th, you're down. Somebody bought the bejesus out of calls the other day and they smoked them. Now, you know, maybe this is it. You're going to turn. I mean, I wouldn't bet against the company. That's for sure. I mean, it's hard to bet against Amazon for sure, but you know, it's just a function of time more than anything. But no. QRRE, what I would do is, you know, when these things do secondaries, like didn't their drug get approved by the FDA? You know, I don't know, man. Like that kind of stuff, you have to watch, because if they got their drug approved, like it's like this, like RR. I meant to look at this because, and then I got busy with something else, of course. But I meant to look at this today, and like you already moved up, right? Let's go take a look at this together. I love when we can do stuff together. You wanted to look at these things. So, you know, when that stuff prices. So I don't know if this priced yet. I don't see it pricing. Man, some of these news services, I go back to the way it was. It used to cost me a fortune to do, but at least I had real news. This is ridiculous. It's so frustrating sometimes. Or do you want? I need to see if this priced or not. I wouldn't play with that QURE because after at prices and they don't get as much as they thought they were going to get, they're going to be all over it. So it's definitely something I pay attention to. What do you got, John? What? Okay. Let me just do this really quickly and grab that, throw that over here. I don't know. Yes, I got it. Let me just see something really quickly. One second, guys. Sorry. CRDO is something that I definitely missed out on. I wouldn't chase it now. I was looking at this in the 80s. I'm just not going to chase things today. I'm not in that mood to chase. Here's what I would do with this kind of stuff. I broke the 22. I got to flip it back over it and then use that as a stop. By the time that happens, that 358 usually align. But you got to make sure that you're get rid of the pre and the post. I got to jump. I'm super late here, guys. They are drones. I think IBM's interesting. I own the UNH. Surprisingly, that I own it, but I do. I just buried it, but I don't know that I do much more with it. I do agree. When you found out that those guys were buying it, it was pretty much a no-brainer. Do they produce drones? They don't produce drones. Threat protection. Oh, that's good. Well, it's 210. I mean, they got a buyout offer, dude. So I don't know. I don't think you're going anyone there. I think crowd looks pretty interesting. You broke out, but you failed. So yeah, I thought the lines were pretty crazy when I saw that. Sats makes a lot of sense to me. People grossly undervalued that. Thanks, Steven. All right, I got to jump, guys. Trade to win.